Let it begin.
Begin, though, with a report that you won't see anywhere else. It's where every child's dream comes true, where you're supposed to feel safe and kids can be kids. As parents, you're going to want to pay close attention to our next story. It's an investigation involving child sex predators in some of the most famous theme parks in this country. Now, as you're getting ready to pack the family van and head to Central Florida's Disney World, Universal Studios, or even SeaWorld, you want to see what we found in our 6-month investigation. We're talking about a pattern of theme park employees arrested in sex stings after work hours. Here's CNN investigative correspondent Kira Phillips.
They are people you would least expect. Some are married with children.
I've been on Craigslist looking for a friend.
Others have been working with children for years.
I work around kids all the time at Disney.
This man even admits to having sex with an underage teen before getting caught.
We talked and kissed.
All of them employees at Florida's Walt Disney World, known as the happiest place on earth. All of them arrested. A CNN investigation found since 2006, at least 35 Disney employees have been arrested for sex crimes against children, trying to meet minors for sex, or for possession of child pornography. And it's not just Disney. 5 employees were arrested from Universal Orlando and 2 from SeaWorld. So far, 32 have been convicted, 8 have pled not guilty, and 2 have not entered a plea. To be clear, none of these cases involve children or teenagers visiting the parks. However, according to law enforcement, despite the most stringent background checks, child sexual predators are still being hired.
Do you think that it was wrong to come here to meet a 14-year-old?
Yes.
This is 40-year-old Alan Treister, who police say advertised himself online as Big Teddy Bear for Younger Chaser. He was a concierge at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge, previously working the Toy Story ride. This is Treister getting arrested after police say he showed up to meet what he thought was a 14-year-old boy, hoping, according to his text messages, to fulfill a fantasy.
Stop right there.
Treister was actually communicating with an undercover detective. He has pled not guilty. However, listen to what he tells detectives during his interrogation. He actually confesses to having sex with a teenage boy just 3.5 weeks before this Polk County sting.
So you still went there for that, to have sex with him, knowing that he was 15 years old?
Was that another fantasy? I mean, I was, again, a younger age, so...
I guess.
That's right. Treister admits he drove to Georgia to have sex with a 15-year-old boy he met online.
My life is ruined. My family's life is ruined.
49-year-old Robert Kingsolver was a maintenance supervisor at Disney's Magic Kingdom, monitoring and fixing rides like Teacups, Winnie the Pooh, and It's a Small World. He says he loved his job, especially the children.
To see the look on the children's faces, to, when they get to see, Prince Charming or maybe running into Mickey. That was the best part, is just seeing kids glow and seeing their heroes.
That all ended in February when Kingsolver pulled into this driveway, not knowing that he was walking into a sting operation. Within seconds, he is caught and arrested for trying to seduce and lure a 14-year-old child to have sex. Take a look at the graphic text messages between Kingsolver and the undercover detective who was posing as an underage girl. Kingsolver says he's a cuddling and snuggling kind of guy who enjoys giving oral sex.
The bottom line is, obviously, you were talking to an undercover law enforcement officer. You weren't talking to a 14-year-old girl, okay? The bottom line boils down to is that conversations that you had, maybe with the girl later on, was sexual in nature, was it not?
Yes, it was.
Okay. See, we're over that.
Even though he admits to police he wrote the messages,
I would never.
he tells us he was just trying to protect the girl. He has pled not guilty and says his family is standing by him.
They love me. My kids know me, and they know how much I care for kids. They know how much I love them, all four of my kids. And they know that their dad is not somebody that would go out and hurt a young child. They know their dad is somebody that would go out and protect a young child at any cost.
And the arrests are continuing. 4 Disney employees were caught in sting operations in just the last 5 weeks. Our investigation reveals year after year, Walt Disney World employees are getting arrested for child porn and in sex stings set up by Florida police agencies. And it's not just maintenance workers like Robert Kingsolver. It's security guards, a performer, a costume maker, even a pastor. This is 50-year-old Cedric Cuthbert, a former custodial manager at Disney World's Port Orleans Resort, and also a pastor. Police say he was downloading child pornography and soliciting a child for sex online while on the clock at Disney, and at the same time writing a sermon for his church.
What do you have to say to the
Cuthbert pled no contest and was sentenced to 6 years in prison.
We go after these predators with a vengeance.
Grady Judd is the sheriff of neighboring Polk County, known nationally for his aggressive approach to child sex predators.
I talked to a number of these men, and they said, it's entrapment. I was totally set up.
What else are they going to say? Are they going to get on national news and say, I'm a pervert? I'm a child predator? I seek sex with little boys? No, they're not going to say that. When they tell you that, look them in the eye and say, you're a liar. What you really are is a pervert, a sexual pervert, and a child predator.
I have never done this. I have no bad record. I can't lose my job.
This is 32-year-old Patrick Holgerson, a Disney street performer and VIP tour guide in training. He's seen here in photo after photo posted on his Facebook page. He tried to run from police when they say he showed up to have sex with a 13-year-old boy. It was a sting. Holgerson had engaged in graphic sexual chat, even sending a picture of himself with Mickey Mouse, and it got more explicit from there. Holgerson has pled not guilty. He too told police he was just looking out for the child.
I was going to see if he was really doing this, and I felt it was wrong, and I was going to actually call it in once I left here.
Disney declined our request for an on-camera interview, but in a statement said, we have extensive measures in place, including pre-employment and ongoing criminal background checks and computer monitoring and firewalls. The numbers reported by CNN represent 1/100th of 1% of the 300,000 people we have employed during this time period. We continue to work closely with law enforcement and organizations like the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children as we constantly strengthen our efforts. So what does the co-founder of the Center for Missing and Exploited Children say about sexual predators being hired at businesses that cater to children?
This is a real threat.
Ernie Allen is the president of the International Center. He says for every sexual predator that gets caught, there are still thousands of them we don't know about out there, trolling for children.
Most of those who have criminal records are the dumb ones. They're the ones who've gotten caught. Most of those who prey upon children don't have criminal records.
Is there more that Disney could do?
I think there's more that Disney can do. There's more that everybody can do. It's hard to imagine a company that's tried harder to address this issue than Disney.
Disney's competitors, Universal and SeaWorld, face the same challenges. This is 23-year-old Matthew Cody Myers.
Face that way.
Universal Studios fired him after he was arrested in Polk County's most recent sting. Police say he showed up to have sex with someone he thought was a 14-year-old girl.
So when the sex was instigated by you, what did you say to instigate the sex act?
I was like, would you want to?
Want to what?
Have sex.
Take some deep breaths.
I'm trying.
Myers told police he wouldn't have really gone through with it, and he has pled not guilty. Universal told us we have zero tolerance for this kind of activity. We deal with situations such as this immediately and permanently. Like Disney and SeaWorld, the company also said all our team members undergo thorough background checks as part of the hiring process. SeaWorld said the safety of our team members and employees is our top priority, adding that it has policies and procedures in place, and we take appropriate action as needed.
What we're doing with Disney and everyone else is we're putting shackles on them and then wondering why they can't win the race.
Sheriff Judd says businesses that cater to children need to go one step further and use polygraph tests.
Anyone that works around children, whether it's in church, in the nursery, or whether it's at Disney or any other of our theme parks, or whether it's in schools, we should be able to give a polygraph examination to them.
Reality is, Congress, citing privacy and civil liberties issues, has made it illegal for most private companies to polygraph employees.
It's the one tool that hasn't been employed.
Florida Congressman Dennis Ross, a former attorney for Disney World in the late 1980s, wants to change that.
They're doing all they can with what we've empowered them to do.
But the sexual predators are still getting hired, so...
Which is why we need to be vigilant and, as a policymaker, to give more tools so that we can prevent the next one from occurring.
After learning about our story, Congressman Ross introduced legislation that would give companies that serve children the option to polygraph employees, something Disney told us it would consider.
What's the ultimate result here?
That we save the next person that's out there. We owe it to ourselves, we owe it to our children, we owe it to our future to make sure that we do everything we can to make sure that the next victim never happens.
Kara Phillips joins us now. It's a fascinating report. I didn't realize about the polygraph. I mean, to Disney's point, it is a tiny, tiny fraction of the 300,000 employees they have.
Yes.
Bottom line, are these parks safe?
Yeah, that's a great question. And Disney, Universal, SeaWorld all insist, yes, this is a safe environment. And as we pointed out, none of these crimes...
We're happening on the...
Right, we're happening at the parks, but clearly this is an issue, right? There's more to it. And so that's why Congressman Ross has responded to our investigation and said, hey, let's give them more tools. This is one more tool to help weed these guys out. And you heard Sheriff Judd. He laid it out there. Bottom line, predators go where the kids are.
Right, and this is not an issue even just of theme parks. It's a much wider problem in society.
Absolutely. And Congressman Dennis Ross also pointed that out. He feels that if all law enforcement saw this story, saw what Sheriff Judd has been doing, this aggressive approach to sex stings, that they could catch so many more sexual predators across this country.
Let it begin.